To some, this man is a Frankenstein. To others, he's God. Over the past 8 years, working in secret, he's been leading a team into medicine's most controversial terrain. His aim is to clone a human being by injecting the unique DNA of an individual into a woman's egg to give birth to a human replica. His ambition has brought him into bruising conflict with mainstream science and ethics.
This is a disgrace, Doctor. 70% of these children, by your own words, would be born mutated.
This man's quest to clone a human being has taken him to far-flung, sometimes dangerous corners of the world.
He's very pleased to meet with you. Science has no limit, no borders.
Since this experiment began, our film crew has been recording from the inside this man's journey of triumph and disaster.
It's very difficult for us to tell what may have happened here.
You know, I paid $60,000 or $70,000. I guess obviously you ought to tell them, do not freeze the embryos.
What this man is doing could change the very process of creation itself.
I am not God, I just only do God's work. And if I have a choice between playing God and playing devil, I'd rather play God.
January 2004. The world's most controversial expert in human fertilization flies into London with extraordinary news. His name? Dr. Panayotis Zavos.
The mother is a 35-year-old woman. This, obviously, is a very recent event.
Dr. Zavos announced to a disbelieving world that his team had transferred a cloned human embryo into the womb of a woman in the first ever attempt to give birth to a replica human being.
What nationality?
I'm not sure that I wish to disclose that at the moment.
Zavos was instantly submerged in a torrent of criticism.
Do you understand why some people find what you're doing morally and ethically deeply offensive and abhorrent? And actually, one senior member of the medical establishment described you today as a dangerous man.
I think that I do run into those kinds of people occasionally, but it's very occasional.
I think that Dr. Zavos has exposed this woman to incredible near-suicidal risks, and I think he has done so simply for his own financial and egotistical motives.
Panayotis Zavos is the only scientist in the world openly trying to clone a human being. But what's the scientific truth that lies behind the emotion and accusations? What manner of man is this who wants to play master of creation? Panayotis Zavos arrived in the United States 30 years ago to pursue an unusual American dream. He settled in Lexington, Kentucky, where he opened a male infertility clinic.
No, we'll take care of you. You're very important to us.
He'd come 6,000 miles from Cyprus, where he'd been born into a poor Greek Cypriot family. They were strongly Christian, and Zavos still is. His mother became pregnant 26 times. Today, just 6 children survive, one of them Panayotis. But it was the problem of infertility that came to fascinate Zavos. The origin of his cloning ambition goes back to July the 25th, 1978, when the world's first so-called test tube baby was born in Oldham, England. The technique was in vitro fertilization, IVF. IVF imitates in a laboratory the process of fertilization that occurs naturally during sex between a man and a woman. The DNA in a male sperm is merged in the laboratory with the DNA in a woman's egg. The combined cells containing the 2 sets of DNA divide again and again to form a multicell embryo, which is then inserted into the mother's womb.
Now I've got to dash off to the patient to inject it. Excuse me.
The first successful application of IVF grew into the baby Louise Brown. IVF has since become almost routine. It was essentially this technique that Zavos would use to try to clone a human being. But there is one enormous difference. Instead of the baby being produced by the combination of 2 sets of DNA, one male, the other female, a cloned baby would be produced from the single cell of one human being, with its unique DNA signature. It would be a hugely difficult scientific and moral challenge. Zavos declared he would take it on.